So InnovaDerma, firstly, I'd like to introduce Kieran Callan, our CEO, and he'll join me for the Q&A after the end of the presentation. About InnovaDerma, it was 2001 when I was sitting in a room in Bentonville, Arkansas, doing a presentation to Walmart, and I was actually presenting a sunscreen with a tanning compound. The buyer sat there and he said to me, "Not interested. We've got solariums and sun tanning beds." You wind that forward to 2016, solariums or paid solariums are totally prohibited, and there's 19 states now that ban UV applications or sunbeds for minors. The world has moved on. So about InnovaDerma, we're an innovative business dedicated to delivering high-performance products across all of our brands in beauty, personal care and life sciences. The company was founded in 2013. I joined in 2014, and we acquired the brand Skinny Tan for the pricely sum of 50,000 Australian dollars. It was a brand that had been on Dragon's Den the previous August of 2014. And we had all the dragons slaying each other over wanting to buy this brand. They wanted to invest. We finally went with a gentleman in technology called Piers Linney and a lady called Kelly Hopen. Obviously, the founders of Skinny Tan were two British ladies that were living in Sydney at the time. And they thought that they'd hit a gold streak when they had these two dragons invest. The other shareholders thought it was great too, so they proceeded to plunder the company to the extent that within 6 months the company was basically insolvent. So we came along and we acquired the brand. We had some plans and we thought that with its unique demographic that we could make something of it. So we moved forward, we built the brand. 2016 we listed on the LSE after being or having a compliance listing on the Euronext. We raised £1.3 million and revenue grew from around about $150,000 to £4.3 million. First profit that we made was in that year. 2017 we acquired the brand of Charles & Lee, also from a founder in Melbourne, and we acquired Prolong from a very prominent London-based Harley Street psychiatrist. We raised £4.4 million and proceeded to do the same as what we did with Skinny Tan to the brand of Charles & Lee, and we thought the proposition of Prolong, which was a very unique product with patents and trademarks in 72 countries, as an IP-based acquisition. We expanded the retail footprint in 2018 after enjoying a 3-year relationship with Superdrug. We grew our revenue to 10.7 million and we had an operating profit of 0.7. 2019, we sit here today, we've now got a very strong direct-to-consumer business which comprises around about 57% of our total sales, with a very strong retail base predominantly through Superdrug and Boots. 2020, announced yesterday, we've launched a totally new category called Nothing, which is a hair removal brand, which we intend to disrupt the hair removal market against the two very old companies, Nair and Veet. We continue to grow. We released our half-year results this morning, and we find that our revenues are up 33%. Gross margins are 240 basis points up year on year. Some of our brands. Obviously, Skinny Tan has been the mainstay of our business for quite some time, particularly since we acquired it. We've gone from the original 9 SKUs, stock keeping units, and we've grown it to now over 35. A lot of our success has been driven purely on innovation, understanding what the customer wants, and being competitive in terms of our major competitors being Central-Pay and Bondi Sands. As you can see, creams, sprays, a range of different applications. What we actually base our products on are they're totally organic, vegan-friendly, not tested on animals, and have a nice scent to them that people enjoy. Charles & Lee, the brand, for us this is a brand that thrives on gifting, as a gifting proposition. It is primarily in Australia at the moment, so we have great success through the brand with the high-end retailers, David Jones and Myer. The US website will be going live, or has just gone live, where we intend to sell online, and the UK website will be launched very soon. Roots is our hair care brand, premium hair care brand. It's a range of products that uses a three-step system to reduce hair loss. The original intention of this brand, when we first researched it, was that we wanted to develop something in-house. We didn't find the appetite to go out and buy something, but we wanted to place the product between Alpecin and Plantor, which were the two prominent hair loss, hair prevention or hair loss prevention products. So we decided to develop a three-step process. We sourced an active called Procopil, which had some very good clinical data about reducing the rate at which people lost their hair, and also encouraged hair growth from the follicles. So a very unique product range. It found its mark. It was widely accepted. We're in Boots, we're in Superdrug, and we continue to get good support on this brand. The new brand, Nothing. A bit of a quirky take on some of the traditional brands of Nair and Veet, but we're talking here 3 different colour ranges or fragrances with 3 SKUs, predominantly being a gel, which is a shower shave gel, a sorbet for hair removal, and also the hot wax. So basically we're going head to head with some of the key players in the market. This is something quite innovative in that people that use hair removal products complain about the scent, the way that it operates, and what we've done is we've actually made this a far more enjoyable experience. And I'm sure that the way that it's been packaged will actually appeal to a broader customer base than potentially what Nair and Veet do at the moment. And our life science brands, Growlase, which is a product under development for hair rejuvenation of hair growth. It's a laser helmet, FDA cleared, and it's on a predicate clinical trial basis. And of course Prolong, which is a product which is the world's only FDA cleared medical device for the treatment of PE in men. This is a product where we actually support these patents, as I said, in 72 countries, the trademarks, and for us, very much a brand that, if you relate to depression 10 years ago when no one talked about it, to today when people are actually making money out of depression. We think that this is what people will want to talk about over the years to come, and hence a product such as Prolong, which is a training device for men with that certain indication, is going to become invaluable. Strategic aims. Firstly, we find ourselves as a highly innovative company. We want to innovate new products, new categories. With Nothing, with Roots, we develop those brands in-house, using our own people, our own resources, and we were able to successfully launch those products to the market. We acquired Skinny Tan and Charles & Lee at low valuations, and we've been able to turn those into £1 million brands. Particularly with the success of Skinny Tan over the last 4 years, we've been able to turn what was potentially 150,000 Australian dollars into a brand that turns over close to £12 million. So innovation is at the core of our business. Retail, we've used retail successfully. leveraging commercial opportunities secured with retail partners and distributors. Digital, it's been one of the mainstays of the way we approach the market and the way that we engage with the customer. We utilise digital and marketing strategies to grow D2C channels and also the client base that exists. We do export to countries. We don't find the issue about having product sales in New Zealand, in Canada, South Africa. We've got currently discussions being undertaken in a number of other countries. And I guess in terms of strategic aims, we want to build a sustainable and diversified business model. And of course, leading to that is generating shareholder value. In terms of delivering on our strategy, we've been quite focused on making sure that we achieve the key targets in our business. Total revenue FY18 to FY19 grew from 10.7 million to 12.9 million. Gross margins are up 600 basis points over that period. Adjusted EBIT up 75% from 0.8 to 1.4 million pounds. Adjusted earnings per share is up 133% from 3p to 7p. And free cash flow from minus 2 million to 200,000. The business does not carry any debt at the moment. Obviously, it's one of those propositions that we look at very closely. As everyone says, cash is king. But from our perspective, we've kept ourselves pretty tidy in terms of managing and being very discerning about where we spend our cash. In terms of revenue, going from 2016 when we turned over just over £4 million to 2019 turning over in excess of £12 million, a 44% compound average growth rate. Growing our retail footprint, store numbers. Superdrug, who were our first retail partner, enjoyed a 3-year exclusive rights to the sale of Skinny Tan. 2018, 786 stores. We've actually featured in every Superdrug store since very early on in our partnership. The first year they took us on into 220 stores, very quickly expanded to 450 stores and then decided to roll Skinny Tan out into every store. Obviously, whilst we had the exclusive arrangement with Superdrug, we had Boots sitting over our shoulder looking at us and saying, when can we have access to Skinny Tan? Once we finished the exclusive period, we left some core range products exclusive to Superdrug to maintain that relationship, but then decided that it was the right time to go into Boots. Our first foray into Boots really was 800 stores. But again, similar to what Superdrug did, they actually increased our circulation to 2,100 stores. Just recently, we've been able to place 4 SKUs or 5 SKUs into every store into Boots, the core range. Tesco has been a partner 2019. We have just rolled out Skinny Tan into Tesco earlier this year. Asda has been a consistent partner with us, particularly with Roots. Priceline in Australia, which is the preeminent and largest pharmacy group, we've enjoyed a growth from 450 stores to 480 stores. We feature with Skinny Tan in every single store now, so it's always nice with a leading pharmacy group such as Priceline. And Myer and David Jones are the upmarket retailers that actually carry the Charles & Lee brand. The D2C platform has been a massive engine for our growth. Strategy is to ensure multi-platform presence with partners such as Facebook, Instagram, Google AdRoll and Taboola. We use technology to enhance our return on investment. At the moment we utilise artificial intelligence, who we call Albert, and it actually operates in such a way of trying to learn the buying habits of individuals and then markets very specifically to those individuals the appropriate bundle that they know that they have bought in the past. We deploy a large database to cross-market between portfolio brands. We talk about nothing as being the new brand that we've launched. We find that the users of the tanning products really index highly to the users of hair removal products. So the opportunity for us to cross-market is highly prevalent. We're GDPR vigilant and compliant. We continue to grow transaction volumes and average basket sizes. And to give you an idea, our customer base has grown 48% from just under 500,000 to 683,000 at the end of December. Interim highlights, I won't spend too much time, but these are already been released on the LSE. At the top line revenue up 32% over the corresponding 6 months of last year. Gross profit up 40%, margins at 240 basis points. Profit before tax plus 18%. D2C channel accounted for 56% of our revenue. Customer base has increased 12% since June to 683,000. D2C sales of Skinny Tan up 22% over the same period. And we've relaunched the brand successfully in Australia and particularly in the US. Exceptional success of a couple of brand new SKUs that we launched, Wonder Serum Choc range in Boots and Superdrug. Charles & Lee performance was excellent. It grew, I think, about 88% over the same period. And Life Sciences increased by 71% from a low base. That's the Prolong brand, particularly through the D2C channel. So the interim highlights, continued organic growth across our brands, the launch of Nothing, focused on product development and innovation for rollout into the second half, which is our biggest, most prominent trading period. Obviously looking to utilise our international partners for growth of brands, invest in our D2C platform. We'd like to see ourselves have a nice strong period of cash generation in H2. And then obviously we think that trading in the second half is going to be in line with our expectations. Sustainability drive, this is where we differentiate ourselves. We have a very strong sustainability drive within the business, all skin and hair care, cruelty-free and 100% vegan-friendly. Majority of packaging is recyclable and minimal in design. We're looking to eliminate excess packaging, using recycled plastic to be introduced progressively, looking at our formulations. And we've just introduced a new packaging, particularly in our brand Nothing, which utilises sugarcane tubes, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the sugarcane tube and the plastic tubes. 100% biodegradable and sustainable. Board of Directors, the directors here, Ross Andrews is with us in the audience. Rodney Turner's based in Sydney. Of course, Kieran's here, myself. All have been directors for quite some time now in the company. So we've seen the growth trajectory from where we sit. And I think the conclusions are in this business that it's a maturing business. We're a young business, but we've matured very quickly. We still want to retain our ability to be agile, innovative and entrepreneurial. Near term, we want to drive organic growth in key brands, which we've done successfully over the last 4 years. New category development to augment our organic growth. As you can see, we introduce into new categories. That won't stop. We're already in conversation and thinking about where the next target will be. I want to focus on our export markets, particularly US, Canada, Australia and the EU. And our investment in artificial intelligence will be ongoing. We think that's the way of the future, rather than having a whole room of people trading your products on Facebook, Google, Instagram, that artificial intelligence will take that over and it will learn the patterns of the way that people procure and what people do sitting behind a keyboard. Obviously, it also enables us to optimise the return of investment in our D2C channel. And of course, sitting there quietly is the opportunity to evaluate relevant and value accretive acquisitions. I don't think that we'll find ourselves a Skinny Tan at 50,000 and a Charles & Lee at 25,000, but you never know. We'll always be on the lookout for an opportunity. So that is the presentation. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'll invite Kieran to come up here and answer all the hard questions.
Thank you for that.
I've got quite a few questions, a few different buckets, but I'll start with manufacturing. So you moved your manufacturing from Australia to the UK, I believe, in 2016, 15, 16?
Late 16.
Whereabouts in the UK are they based?
They're near Thetford.
Is that a facility you own and operate, or is it outsourced?
No, it's a contract manufacturing facility.
Yeah.
And look, we deliberately made the choice to retain contract manufacturing as our source of supply. Essentially, our expertise, we're a marketing company, we're a brand company.
Yeah.
We're not about investing significant amounts of capital in very low ROE investments in terms of manufacturing capability. And I think the other point to that is, if you look at Nothing, the new brand that we've just launched, we scoured the world for expertise in hair removal, and we found the two markets in the world where that expertise was most prevalent was Turkey and Spain. So actually 2 out of the 3 SKUs that we've sourced for Nothing are actually manufactured in Spain, simply because they had the best expertise.
Yeah.
So it means we can compress our time to market and be able to access other people's knowledge and IP to feed that marketing innovation.
So on IP, your R&D is clearly a source of advantage for you. How many staff do you actually have in R&D?
1.
You have 1.
Yep.
It just strikes me, if you look at your intangible capitalisation, you're capitalising in excess of 300k a year, and you've got 1 employee. Either they're incredibly...
We have a person whose sole role is to collate and move the cycle of product development to pre-manufacturing stage.
Yeah.
We have a team of people, both based in Australia and the UK, that have all valuable inputs into it.
What I'm trying to get at is this IP on your balance sheet, does it come from your ability to manufacture products and actually chemically produce something to your advantage, or are you purely a marketing company?
Well, the IP that you're talking about are the intangibles. We carry very little intangibles based on Skinny Tan, Charles and Lee.
Yeah.
It was about 7 million, wasn't it, on the balance sheet?
That's basically relating to the old Limo brand, the Growlase brand, the Prolong brand. Yeah. There is some product development that sits in that category, but we're not talking a lot of money. I mean, the value.
So what do you actually capitalise then?
Well, the only other thing we capitalise
is the customer database.
The customer database, okay. You've obviously grown a lot, and the composition of your business has changed, and you've gone from being a lot of your assets were in Australia, but they're now predominantly in the UK. Do you think the arrangement you've got from a legal entity perspective is fit for purpose for today? Are you going to be reviewing that, because you've got circa 80% of your assets in the UK, and you're reporting a lot of those within Australia, which means
we report them on in our parent company, consolidated.
Oh, they are consolidated, but I can't get into that data because they're in legal entities that are reported via Australia's legal system.
Not every entity,
but a lot of the assets are.
No, there's very few assets that sit in Australia. The Charles and Lee brand sits in Australia. The Skinny Tan brand sits in Australia, but the Roots, the Nothing brands sit in the UK.
Yeah.
But we've got the structure that supports the way that we actually allocate, and it consolidates at a group level anyway.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. Your auditors are a small firm in Australia. When you started the company, your turnover was about 3 or 4 million, right? Your audit fee was about 30k.
Yep.
Fast forward to today, you're about 13 million turnover. The audit fee is 34k. So my question is, are you squeezing the auditors? Are they getting enough time to do the due diligence that we deserve as investors?
Look, I think that, firstly, about the auditors, there's 6 audit firms in Australia at the moment that are dual qualified to audit LSE, AIM and ASX companies.
Yeah.
And this audit firm is one of them. The other 5 are the Big 4 plus Grant Thornton. So they've got people that have got the expertise. They also have affiliates here in the UK. We also use Moore Kingston Smith for our tax reviews on a parent group basis, and they assist the auditors in touching off on some of those other points as well.
Last year in the accounts, you stated you were not exposed to foreign exchange movements, or there was no assets held in foreign currency. The results today showed there was a movement of about 235k.
It's a fluctuation that we actually ascribe to the balance sheets at the time when we actually do it.
But what happened last year? I'm guessing there was no changes, no acquisitions. So what happened?
Same thing. I mean, what we do is we actually have our accounts, and the balance sheet is basically the difference between what was in the previous period to the current period. So we've got...
No, I understand. I'm an accountant. I understand. So, but what I'm trying to say is that...
So we've got about 5 entities that actually transact outside of the UK.
Yeah.
We revalue the intercompany loans, and that's where most of the variation comes from. So, yes, we don't have foreign exchange accounts outside of the UK, but we do transact in foreign currencies. And the intercompany transactions that occur between each of the entities, because they do. If we bring Skinny Tan product from the UK out to Australia, then that transacts because we have to actually do it and value it in such a way that we comply with transfer pricing requirements. Then the valuation of that sitting in the Australian books gets revalued at the end of each period, reporting period, and that's where you get the foreign exchange adjustment. And I might add, if you look at the fluctuation of the UK pound against the Australian dollar, it's actually had a fluctuation of about 12% in a very short period in time.
One more, sorry. Your growth into the retail market. So that is obviously going to put pressure on your cash flow. I'm assuming that payment terms aren't particularly favourable when you're working with those guys. Because if you strip out the fact of your D2C business, your collection is about 120 days.
Well, you've got two things. D2C, essentially cash is instantaneous, more or less. And in relation to our terms and the spread between our contract manufacturing supply base and the terms we enjoy with our retail customers, essentially that is cash positive.
Okay, fine. And is there anything you want to discuss about Harris Chowdhury?
Not really. I mean, unless you want to talk about it.
No. I mean, you were around when he was, so I'm just wondering if there's anything you want to disclose.
Well, no, the only thing I say is that it just shows the resilience of a company. We've got continuity. Major shareholder and executive chairman leaves. You know, it's a seamless transition. We keep moving forward.
So I guess obviously you've shown great growth over the last few years as a growing business, but obviously you're very heavily focused on UK revenues. I'm interested in learning more about your international opportunities for expansion.
Well, I think as Joe referenced, a number of things going on there. So quite clearly, because we've got a footprint in Australia and obviously the proximity to New Zealand, the logical thing for us to do is look to exploit that, which clearly we'll be doing with the Nothing brand. Roots, we have a slight issue in terms of formulation and local compliance with the Therapeutic Goods Authority, but in reformulating Roots, which we're in the process of doing now, we want to address that. So that opens up Roots as an opportunity in that particular marketplace. Similarly, as far as the US is concerned, obviously we've relaunched on D2C in the US, and that's taken off incredibly quickly. So we're enjoying high levels of growth there, and obviously just coming into peak Northern Hemisphere tanning season. On top of that, we're also enjoying a higher ROI than we do on our UK business. So, two major positives from that point of view. We've just been listed on QVC, the shopping channel in the US, on their online platform. So that provides another avenue of growth. And we also have consultants working on identifying, a bit like we did with Superdrug in the first instance, an exclusive mainstream retail partner that can give us our first retail footprint in the US. So clearly, I mean, Skinny Tan is a fairly obvious opportunity, given what Joe was referencing in terms of that regulatory shift that we're seeing in the US, which is only accelerating. And then quite clearly, once we've, I think, explored the opportunity there, a brand like Nothing, which essentially is a global staple. The US is the largest hair removal market in the world. Europe's the second largest, and within that you've got Germany. We've got a live conversation with a German distributor at the moment who's got strong links into probably what you'd call the equivalent of Boots in the German marketplace. And then outside that, France and Spain are the other two major hair removal markets. So from our point of view, not only can we exploit the existing I suppose, more mature brand portfolio that exists within the business. But a lot of the category development that we're doing, we've got not just an eye on what the UK can do for us, but categories that have global applicability. And also, to be honest, not the seasonality factor that you have in self-tanning.
Okay, I think that's just perfect on timing. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Any more questions, please ask later on.